Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday, the 13th of April, 2021. I hope you're all well, healthy, and COVID-free today. I hope all your needs are being met. Blessings on those that work in the healthcare field, trying to save lives, whether they be nurses, doctors, nurses' aides, home health aides, nurses' assistants, doctors' assistants, and of course, doctors themselves that help to save lives, looking to comfort those that are sick, looking to help those that are weak, often risking their own lives to do that. Blessings on them. Blessings on those that pick up the garbage for us, keeping our places clean. Blessings on those that make deliveries. On those that are looking to help men and women, boys and girls, teenagers, escape the clutches of sex trade operations and pornography in the world. Curses on those that support these industries. Blessings on those helping the homeless. 500,000 plus in the United States alone. Men, women, boys, and girls. Veterans sleeping in boxes, cars, benches, sidewalks, parks, tents. May they get housing. May those trying to help them be blessed, and may themselves be blessed. There was a basketball game last night where our New York Knicks was playing against the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, when I looked at this game on the schedule, a couple weeks ago, I counted it an L, because LeBron, AD, and crew, right? But then LeBron got hurt. I think it's the first any type of really serious injury LeBron has had in his whole career. So he missed 4 to 6 weeks. So he's going to be out for a while. And then, of course, AD is hurt a lot. I mean, I just noticed that every year he's hurt. Something happens. He's almost like Kyrie. He's going to get hurt at some point during the season. So he was hurt. As long as they're back for the playoffs, the Lakers figure they're good, and they're probably right. But they were both out. And I looked at some Los Angeles media and saw some Los Angeles bloggers and stuff. And everybody was kind of surprised the Knicks beat them. So, it just shows me how much the Knicks are being slept on, where people actually expected the Lakers to beat the Knicks without their two stars, without their two superstars. Now, I know that the Lakers destroyed the Nets a couple of days ago. But that was because of Andre Drummond. And see, this is the thing I want to start off with Andre Drummond. All y'all fools out here talking about, we need Andre. Y'all just drooling at the mouth for Andre just a couple of weeks ago. At the trade, you gotta get Andre, you gotta sign Andre Drummond, ready to diss our boy Mitchell Robinson. Now, we saw Andre Drummond last night against the Knicks. What you think now? Some of y'all out there calling him a bum. He ain't no bum now. But you see what happens with New York Knicks fans and Knicks Nation that drives me crazy is you see a shiny object, and when you're looking at the shiny object and you want it so bad, you don't see any blemishes. But when it's under the lights of Madison Square Garden and it's yours, then you start seeing all the blemishes, right? So you can point out all the reasons Julius Randle's not a superstar, all the reasons RJ, some of y'all was even talking about trading RJ or Mitchell Robinson earlier. You can see all your blemishes of your own team. When you look at other players, all of a sudden you don't see no blemishes. And then when you see some, they're bums. Y'all just too extreme, some of y'all, man. The truth is, Andre Drummond is a premier rebounder in the NBA. Premier rebounder, okay? Andre Drummond is a rough customer when he, sometime when he want to be. But Andre Drummond's game is right here. If you get in here, he's out the game, okay? If something happens to get in his head, he's out the game. He checks out. Okay, he does. Now, in his sleep, he gonna get 10 rebounds. I mean, in his sleep, without even trying, Andre Drummond gonna get 10 rebounds. That's the type of rebounder that he is. Okay? But he's not going to dominate the game the way he's capable, like the way he did against the Nets. If you get in his head. He's that type of player. So on any given night, he might show up and give you 20 rebounds and 20 points, right? And he might hit most of his free throws. And he might be running the floor. And he might win you a game. But there's a lot of NBA players with that. That's why they're in the NBA. On any given night, a guy could drop 50 on somebody, and change it. And Andre Drummond is no different. So last night we saw the blemishes because he got Reggie Bullock got in his head a little bit. Okay, with that length, number one, and then he badly missed the free throw. He took 2 free throws, and one of them, like I think it must have grazed the side of the rim. It was so bad. But Mook brother Keith got the rebound, and I think he got fouled or he scored it. No, it was a goaltending call, and he scored. But Andre Drummond was out the game. His mind was out the game. Okay, and once that happened, it was over because the Knicks defense, of course, is ferocious. The Knicks defense is ferocious. But last night, the Knicks, because Andre Drummond had 9 boards, but he only had 1 offensive rebound. They only had 4 offensive rebounds for the whole game. They had 33 rebounds total, the Lakers, and they had 4 offensive rebounds. The Knicks had 47 rebounds and 15 offensive rebounds. Okay? And we shot the ball like crap, like 5 for 27 from 3, 19% from 3. I mean, but the free throws, we shot 82%. That's making our free throws. But everybody was shooting terrible. Now, I saw something also with that, but I just want to complete this Andre Drummond thought. So y'all, I want all of y'all that was clamoring, and you know who you are, for Andre Drummond at the trade deadline, to look at last night and see what you might have gotten in a big time situation. Like I said, he's that type of player. He could show up one night and get you, 20 points, 20 rebounds. He could do that. Or he might not show up at all. Okay? Now, a guy like LeBron, he could get the best out of Andre Drummond. And he's done it before with other guys, right? He can get the best out of a guy like that. I mean, like with J.R. Smith, he can get the best out of cats like that and utilize him. That kind of talent he is. And then they also got AD as well. So they're going to still be rough. Andre Drummond might be the missing piece for them. But I'm glad we didn't, give up on Mitchell Robinson for Andre Drummond. That's what I'm saying. Okay? And y'all need to going forward in the future, real check yourself, man. Look at the guy's blemishes as well as all the shininess, okay? So you can see what you're really looking at in terms of a total package, what you're going to get, okay? Some of y'all was talking about getting rid of Bullock. Bullock, I mean, there's better players than Bullock, but Bullock plays good defense, solid defense, and he's shooting 40% for the year from 3. Now, if I told you we were going to get a guy to play tight defense and shoot 40 from 3 and play the 3 spot for us, would you want him? You see what I'm saying? I mean, so he's got blemishes, but, overall, this is the type of player you want. Now, I still think he's a guy that you want coming off your bench, as a bench piece on a championship team. But we're not a championship team yet, which brings me to my next point. While the defense is ferocious for the Knicks, the fact that we are rebuilding and we're in the first year of this rebuild, we still have some really obviously glaring blemishes on the offensive side of the ball. Even though we won the game, even though Julius Randle, he had a tremendously statistical game, 34 points, 10 boards, 2 steals, 4 assists, a block. He did have 7 turnovers and they hurt. But the things that bothered me about the offense last night is too many times Julius tries to attack double teams. He tries to attack double teams and he loses the ball most of the time when he does that. Really good defensive teams are going to double him. Okay? Like we've seen over the last couple of games. And they know they're going to fluster him. How do you beat that? When they're coming at Julius like that, he cannot waste time holding on to the ball or trying to dance with it. He has to get rid of it quick. Okay? When he does that, and he did it a couple of times last night, not often enough, but he did it a couple of times. When they come at you to double and you release that ball quickly and it's moving around, now they got to scramble. And now you have a chance to get yourself in a position where you can get a better shot and a mismatch. And the Knicks did that a couple of times wonderfully last night. Ball moved. It was moving around the rim. It was moving touched all 5 players. And then sometimes, you would get somebody with an open shot, or Julius would get the ball back, with somebody on him that couldn't guard him, right? And so that's what you want. They don't do that often enough. Too often, and it's Randle. It really is Julius, because he's the leader of the team. He's the focal point. He's going to get his touches, right? He should. But he has got to learn to give that rock up when the double team's coming. And what I'm saying is for two reasons. Number one, I'm not trying to criticize the Knicks as if they're not a good team. The Knicks, like I said, I love the Knicks, right? But I understand we're in the first year of this rebuild. This is the first year of this thing. So, we're going to learn. But I just don't want to see us get embarrassed, when we get to the playoffs. Because when you get to the playoffs, you're playing teams that are the better teams in the league, obviously, right? So they're gonna double him. There's no question. They're gonna double Julius Randle. Okay, he's gonna get doubled every time he touches the rock. They're gonna double him. And so the other players have got to create angles for him, and he has got to release that ball as soon as he sees the double team coming. He's got to flick that ball to somebody. Somebody got to be in the angle to get in the ball. Now RJ is very good at that usually when he's running to get into an angle where he could get the ball from Julius, and then move it. Frank does it too, but Frank's not gonna be playing. But that's how those guys do that. And then I wish our boy Payton did it more, but he needs to do that. Noel's good at it. Taj is good at it. We have some good players that do that. So he needs to learn to do that, because a couple of times it was beautiful. The ball, he sprayed the ball out quick. The ball moved. 5 players touch it. Somebody gets an open shot, an easy shot, and they hit the shot. I mean, that's what you want. High percentage shot. So that's that criticism I have. It was bothering me last night because I felt like we won. And the thing is, we still won the game by 15. But I'm telling you, we would have blown these guys out if we offensively. Look at how we got 11. We beat them by 11 on the offensive glass. We would have blown them out if we were moving the ball offensively the way we should. I believe that that's part of what contributed to our bad shooting. We weren't getting good shots because if Julius is dancing around with the ball, you're going to end up trying to force something later in the clock, and you're not going to get a good shot, and that's going to cause your overall percentages to drop. Now, sometimes it was just that people were ice cold. Like RJ was not, he obviously was ice cold last night. He was 2 of 11, 0 for 3 from 3, 3 or 4 from the line. But you know what? RJ affected the game in different ways. He played defense. He moved the basket. We had 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He's a player, man. So he's not always going to get, high scoring games like that. But hey, he's still a good player. I loved the minutes, of course, that Noel gave and Taj Gibson gave again at the 5. Noel had 5 offensive rebounds by himself. Taj Gibson had 6 offensive rebounds. See that that kind of thing. Brethren, I want to tell you, Knicks Nation, things like tight defense, offensive rebounds, and ball movement will win you playoff games. Okay, really. Not just get playoff games. See, now I'm talking playoffs because I know we're going to make it now. We're going to make the playoff. So now it's like, okay, we're trying to get ready for that. I'm trying to mentally get ready for that. And I'm hoping our Knicks are mentally getting ready for that. Get through this, get through this season and use the rest of this season to sharpen your game. Move that basketball, play that tight defense. Okay. There were some very questionable calls last night. Some pretty stupid calls, actually. They called a 3-pointer on a shot. RJ was guarding Matthews. And they were going to give that boy 3 shots. I'm glad they reviewed it, but some of these calls, man. I don't know what's going on with the refereeing, but it seems to me that the grade, the level of competence for the referees this year is lower. I don't know if it's the COVID. I don't know if it's a shortened season and they have to ref more games than they know. I don't know what it is, but the degree of refereeing, the quality is what I'm looking for of refereeing has been, it's diminished this year. Hopefully the NBA address that because it's not good. Affects games in the wrong way. You don't want your referees to affect the outcome of a game. You want the players to affect the outcome of a game, right? And so you don't want to make a dumb call that affects the outcome of a game. But especially we're going into the playoffs, so we're going to get this thing tightened up. But overall, obviously Randle, He didn't, he shot 23 shots. He took a lot of shots. 13 of 23, 2 of 6 from 3, 6 of 7 from the line, 10 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 7 turnovers, but 34 points. He was really hyped. He admitted, he was hyped because he got this chip on his shoulder because, LA kicked him to the curb. They drafted him and then they kicked him to the curb. That's why he ended up in New Orleans signing I think it was a 2-year deal, 18 million or something like that. 2-year, 18 million, 3-year, 27, something like that. So when the Knicks came with 63, that's why he was coming to the Knicks, right? But he was coming off a small deal in New Orleans after the Lakers kicked him to the curb. They didn't extend him after when his rookie contract was up. So yeah, he's got a chip on his shoulder when he comes to LA. And maybe that's also why he was forcing it a little bit. But I gotta give props to Elfrid Payton. You know why I don't like to give props to Elfrid Payton, even when he deserves it? Like, he deserves it. He played a good game yesterday. I ain't gonna front. He had 20 points. He only had 2 assists for a point guard. But he only had two turnovers. He was plus 27. And he played a good game. He played a good defensive game. He played a good offensive game. But you know why I don't like to give props to Elfrid Payton, even in games like this where he actually deserves props for playing a good basketball game? I don't want to encourage the Knicks to re-sign him. That's the problem. I don't want to get so hyped on Elfrid Payton that we say, we got to bring him back. I don't want Leon thinking like that. I don't want Elfrid thinking like that. Please talk to your agent now about where you're going to play next year. Please don't come back here. That's the problem I have. Because then if we're depending on him, he's not a long-term solution at the point guard spot. And I'm not trying to down him. I believe Elfrid Payton is an NBA level player. Listen, you got to be a very good basketball player to play in the National Basketball Association. You got to be very good. Elfrid is talented, but he is not a starting level. Bring you to the championship. Run deep in the playoffs, point guard. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And I think we agree with that. Speaking of that, I had told y'all that I liked Lonzo. I was convinced, CK2K and my man Jay Ellis, they convinced me. Yes, Lonzo, we should be going after. But I still liked, and I've always liked, and I told y'all I liked Dennis Schroeder. And the reason I like Dennis Schroeder, okay, I'm gonna be frank with y'all. Statistically, he has his ups and downs. He's got his blemishes. He's not the best 3-point shooter. Dennis Schroeder is not, okay? But he got that swag, man. I remember the Knicks had a player out of DePaul back in the day named Rod Strickland. He's from the Bronx. And Rod Strickland, he got that same Rod swag. Now, they're not nowhere in the same universe in terms of where they come from. Dennis Schroeder, his father's a Hebrew, otherwise known as an African, but Germany. I mean, his father's a German. His mother is the Hebrew, right, from Africa. And his father's German. That's why it's Schroeder, right? But he got this swag about him, man. He just got this swag about him. And when even Clyde was noted, when he got the ball in his hand and he ready to cross you and get you, it's almost like Iverson. He's rough, man. And he knows he could do it when he wants to, right? And when he hits his three, when he's hitting his three, forget it. It's lights out, really, because he's that type of player. Like I said, it can happen. That's why they're in the NBA. But he's going to be available this summer. Okay, now he's not my first choice. I'm going to be honest. He's not my first choice. My first choice would be Lonzo as a long-term choice for us to get as point guard. But if Lonzo decides that he's staying in New Orleans or he's going to sign in Chicago or whatever, my second choice, I like Schroeder, man. Now, if I want to be really real about it, I would, if I want to be straight, Danny Ainge cold-blooded business about it, if I can't get Lonzo, I would do a stopgap and try to get Kyle Lowry for a year. I would try to do that because he's going to push us to that next level for a year. I wouldn't, he's going to want a bunch of money. I'd give him a 1-year deal and push it. And then I'd look at Schroeder. Cause Schroeder's young. He's not that old. I don't think he's over 28. Let me see how old is Schroeder. Schroeder's 27. He's gonna be 28 in September. So he's in his prime right now, and he's gonna be looking for a bag, right? I'm not sure what kind of bag he would get, but I kind of figure he just turned down an $84 million extension from the Lakers, and I don't know why he turned that down, because that's about the extent that I would pay him. That's the ceiling that I would give for a Dennis Schroeder. So I don't know why he turned down that money in LA, unless he just didn't like playing in LA and he wants to play somewhere else. I don't know, because he was traded there. He didn't sign there, right? So maybe he decided he wanted to play somewhere else. I don't know, but he's going to be available this year. I would not offer him more than the 84 million. I don't think anybody is. I know everybody's now, this is a point guard summer for some reason. Everybody seems to be thinking the point guards are going to get paid heavy money this season. So that's cool, but I don't want the Knicks to overpay for him. But I do like him, though. I like his game, man. That swag is something else. Last night he played 37 minutes, scored 21 points. He had, what do you have? He had 6 assists, 3 rebounds. It was 6 or 6 from the free throw. He's a good free throw shooter, though. He's a good free throw shooter. But that boy got some swag. And he plays a little defense, but he's weak on D, really. I mean, last night he hurt his hip. And so Alfred was smart, taking advantage of the fact that Schroeder was hurt and attacking him. But I did notice that they didn't, they played him 37 minutes with the hurt hip, which tells me the Lakers are a little desperate at guard, because I would have sat him, if he was that hurt, but they didn't. So anyway, that's another cat I'm looking at. I like Schroeder, man. Always did. When he was on Atlanta, I liked him. But anyway, is what it is. We'll see what happens. So yeah, there's that. But the Knicks won the game. Now, there's 3 in a row. Now, you and I know the 3 in a row curse. What is the 3 in a row curse? This is the 6th time this season that the New York Knicks have won 3 in a row. It's like the 6th time they've done that. They have never yet won 4 in a row. Not yet. I think it's due. What you think? I think it's overdue for us to get that 4th win. But since we haven't been able to do it, it's going to be hard just for that fact. And we are playing Zion in them. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock in New Orleans. In the Big Easy in New Orleans. We playing Zion in them. So, this is not going to be easy. This is a big game. But the good thing about it is that I don't think anybody on the Knicks, particularly namely Julius Randle or Alfred Payton, are going to take this game lightly. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to be ready to play. They're going to understand this is an important game. They all understand this could be our 4th straight. Not only that, we're a game over 500. We need to get 2 games over 500 to get back into that top 6. If tomorrow night, all of our enemies, tonight actually, all of our enemies are playing, it's tonight Tuesday. All of our enemies are playing, Atlanta's playing Toronto. I'm pulling for Toronto, right? Lakers, these same Lakers playing against Charlotte. In Charlotte, I'm pulling for Charlotte, right? The Phoenix is playing Miami. I'm pulling for Phoenix to beat Miami. Boston, the hated Boston is playing Portland. Come on, Dame Lillard and them, beat Boston. See? So if Boston lose, they're 28-27. We are already 28-27. So if we win, we'll be 29-27. That's ahead of them. That would bring us into that 7-6 area again. Okay. Atlanta has opened up a nice space for themselves because they're 4 games over 500. And so, yeah. And then Miami's 3 games over 500. So they pulled away a little bit. But the Lakers beat Charlotte. They'll be 27-26. And then again, we'll be in a good spot to be in that 5th or 6th spot, if we win Wednesday, come Thursday. So this is a big game for us. So we got really be ready to pray. Hopefully, at this time of the season, every NBA team is hurt. Everybody. There's no NBA team that doesn't have somebody hurt. It's just that time of the year. Okay. It happens every year. A lot of nicks and bruises and stuff and spraying this and spraying that and pull muscles and, people have that. That's everybody like that. And the Knicks, even though we've lost Mitchell Robinson, even though people are banged up, we are one of the healthiest teams. And I give that to Tom Thibodeau and the conditioning program he had. Even though, he seemed to run some of the players into the ground, nobody's been seriously injured. Okay. So, we're in good shape. Okay. So, and not only that, Randall need to keep the braids. Keep the braids. For sure. Anyway, y'all have a good Tuesday. Let's get this win tomorrow. We need this win tomorrow. Let's do this thing in New Orleans tomorrow, man. It's not going to be easy, but we got to take care of this business. Have a good day. Blessings to you. Shalom.